Hi, welcome to another video of Just Spinach. Today we're going to look the other side, so the red team, a failed encirclement, and what happens when you overreach your goal. So if you plan way too much ahead. This is based on war game examples as we do in this channel. And let's start with the very basics. So the idea of the Soviet model of an attack of this sort is an attack where it aims to attack and then expand the front as much as possible. A successful operation such as this, the Russian model of war, the basis is to create one main thrust over here, as you can observe, and then a secondary line. That's the general concept of the plan. So the objective is to conduct an encirclement, but it has to be a deep encirclement. The idea of this concept is based on the idea that the enemy is actually quite strong himself and you are not so confident in your ability to counter him. So let's see the actual war scenario. In this scenario, we have the black team. And let's not forget about the fog of war. The fog of war is of the utmost importance. Now, in this scenario, the black team has attack on the south, so over here, and the red team has pre-planned its operation. It has hidden its forces very well, and it's planning to strike through and create a single envelopment of deep battle to create a double layering encirclement system. So this type of defensive systems are called doubled layer encirclements. This is a double encirclement. This envelopment. This is a single envelopment or partially single. The idea is going to be a main thrust from the north over these 3 points and a smaller thrust from the south. At the same time, the units in the west, in the east, are going to pin down the enemy over here, so not allowing him to retreat, and as a result cause him to encircle. As the battle progresses, they start to encounter some issues. The first issue they encounter is the unexpected amount of forces they encounter within the city over here, and the fact that these troops are quite resilient. Unawares of to them that these units are well supplied. You can see the other video that talks about the black team. In this case, we're only talking about the red team. Also, the fog of war. They are unaware of the concentration of troops over here, here, and these strong points over here. Now, nonetheless, they still manage to break through. Their units in front of them on the west see no opponent directly in front of them, but they barely see a strong foe on the south. Thus, they continue their plan accordingly. The idea is to complete the first layer of encirclement over here, and at the same time gradually create the second layer of encirclement over here. Reinforcements are coming in, and the mobile units over here will act as a vanguard to the rest of the army, and they will try to eliminate this pocket. At the same time, they attack in a cautious assault from the north to pin down as much forces as possible. Now, as the battle progresses, new reinforcements are coming in. They manage to break through across all the front, but they faced heavy resistance in the south. At the same time, surprisingly enough for them, they got strong forces encircled over here, over here, over here, over here, and over here. And as a result, they are wasting a lot of their troops on those encirclements. And thus, and here comes the first fault, the idea is they are kind of overreaching their objective. But let's stay with their thinking. They are going with the original plan, complete the second layer of the encirclement. So the two mobile units will act as a vanguard. At the same time, they will stop this pocket from acting, but they are not able to eliminate it. And the units over here again will act as a protection. At the same time, they will gradually push in slowly on the sides while the reinforcements come in and complete the encirclement. Now, as the battle progresses, what they were unaware of was the concentration of enemy force over here. And thus, that force has struck their flanks and their vanguard quite strongly. Now, the red team is quite in a precarious position because their supplies are not coming through so easily, mainly because of the bottlenecks that the black team is still holding on. Nonetheless, the red team pursues with their objective, which is to complete the encirclement as well as the second layer of their encirclement. So they are using their armor, which has suffered casualties up to this point, to complete the second layer. The remaining armor, as well as the armor that has been pushing through gradually, and now it's to a point to break through to complete the first layer of encirclement, they will try to eliminate the pockets over here, but the encircled troops over here are delaying the reinforcements quite a lot. At the same time, because they encounter this strong resistance from the north, and because they don't actually have any troops over here, well, the black team doesn't know that, they know that, they have to divert their reinforcements to the north to create some sort of a protection. Thus, they are trying to move away all of their troops backwards and at the same time recreate some sort of a vanguard over here, and thus using their armor units to be able to allow them not to be encircled themselves. Doing so allows them to create their two-layer encirclement. So one layer over here, second layer over here, but it's a quite precarious position. Their north flank is quite exposed. They do not know the extent of the enemy's strength over here, so this is quite worrisome for them. At the same time, their whole eastern flank, western flank is completely exposed, so they are unable to actually cover this. They have very strong forces, and they know that the black team has in the center in very good defensive positions, and they also know that the black team has some sort of armor within the pocket, and the distance between the pocket and the outside of the pocket is quite very small. So this is quite a very precarious position. So the way they're going to try to deal with this is to try first eliminate the pocket over here and thus release reinforcements, move all of the remaining infantry as reinforcements to the north to recreate the line, and then bring their armor to not allow the black team to create their encirclement over here. And at the same time, try to hold the second layer as well. As we can see, this has partially failed, but at the same time partially succeeded. The second layer has completely collapsed because they were unaware that quite strong armor forces have managed to escape from the encirclement, hidden using the fog of war, and they are preparing to strike. At the same time, the strong forces within the pocket, as well as outside the pocket, are striking from all directions. At the same time, they are expecting the main thrust of the enemy to come from the north and not over here, so not over here. So once that attack comes, the second layer gets completely demolished, and they are losing one armor brigade, and their armor is kind of overexposed by this point, is kind of lacking supplies, and at the same time, while they do manage to hold some sort of an encirclement, is an overstretched line, and they lost the initiative. This is very important. Because they lost the initiative using their armor for defense, and their armor is in a position where it cannot launch concentrated assaults, so their armor in the south here is kind of overexposed, and they are planning for them to retreat their armor, is not able to concentrate, so they lost their initiative within their assault. So now they are moving away their armor to enhance the first layer, but at the same time, for the second layer, they're just trying to hold the whole line. At the same time, they're still unaware that there is a concentration here. So there are forces that got released from the pocket over here. They are moving to the north to deal with their potential attack, as well as moving to the positions over here for a possible loss of their own encirclement. Doing so leads to a lost encirclement, so they failed. As the black team attacked, the black team has managed to break through, and they didn't manage to keep the first layer of the encirclement. Now the red team forces are very heavily damaged. Of course, the black team forces are also heavily damaged as well, and the red team is also aware of this. And at this point, the general plan and operation has partially failed. So since the beginning, they did manage to recapture this position back and partially the city, which can be considered a partial success, but they receive quite heavy losses in armor in trying to doing so. In the end, they remain the last remaining resort at this point, since they lost all of their immediate offensive capability, is to relocate their forces across the front line and just stabilize the situation, and if able, establish a foothold within the city. And this is how the game ends. They managed to reestablish the front line across the front. They brought their armor, the remaining armor, which is badly hit in the back as a reserve, and at the same time they're partially holding the city, but their main objective has failed. This has been a general failure, a failed example of how not to conduct and double envelopment. We're going to make the next video, we're going to see both sides and see the mistakes that both sides have made in this war game. The purpose of this video is to illustrate how not to overreach your objectives and how to be aware to always keep the initiative and pre-plan this to begin with. Thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any ideas or recommendations, please say so. If you want me to go more into details in my videos in regards to warfare, I would love to do so. Thanks you for watching. Please like and subscribe.